These are the patterns.
Well, good morning, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, ZMH 286, and it's Wednesday, the 20th of November, our very last day for the season. Stop, it's jumping up and down, David. 16 degrees outside, so it is a little bit warmer than it was yesterday, 1012.6, and for those heading south, it's rather good, 6 knots of northwest wind, so hopefully it's northwest wind further up the track, but it'll be interesting to see if anybody reports from the Whangarei or Opua area on streaming. 50% cloud cover. It's quite a band to the west and a little bit to the east, but it's actually clear overhead here. So the front is coming, but we'll not have to worry about that too much. Few people have got in. Thank you for letting us know. A Gavney family and Gone with the Wind are in Opua. Panache will get into Opua today, and Amazing Grace will arrive in Marsden Cove tomorrow. They've only got 85 to go, and that little bit of northwest wind will probably be quite useful for them. Macushla, I don't know whether you're copying us way over there, Mark, but Macushla on their way to Southport, not very far to go, 154. So tomorrow arrival for Macushla, 2543 and 15457 east with a northerly 8 to 10. So I'm sure they won't be complaining. They say about 25% cloud cover, but it looks pretty good on the satellite picture, so I don't think it's going to get any worse really. So it's very nice sailing, 1014. So happy landfall for you guys tomorrow. And the rest of you are trucking on. Quite a bit of weather coming up, so David will be covering that shortly. What else is there? Just looking at streaming, it says it's offline, but one system says it's actually online, so God knows what's going on. All right, just a little bit of news. Just to keep you in the picture if you're still out at sea somewhere. The USA has reversed its foreign policy and handed a win to Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has announced that the US no longer considers Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank to be inconsistent with international law. Now, this defies the 1978 State Department decision. But presumably it gives Mr. Trump the Jewish vote in next year's election, and Lord knows he needs a few votes. What's going on over there? So that's what's happening there. Staying in the Middle East, Iran has gone almost completely offline in a huge internet shutdown. They're trying to stem the rising tide of protests. The outage started on Sunday night, and not sure whether that would be the way to stop the protests. If I was there, I think I'd probably protest more. But anyway, they're in an internet blackout at the moment. The impeachment process is ongoing in America. It's sort of like a cricket test match, isn't it? It's sort of long periods of absolute boredom interspersed with a bit of excitement, and really the only thing of interest is the end result. So you'll have to just wait for that. I think it's going to be ongoing. Sweden has dropped the Assange rape investigation. They sort of put it on hold for a while. It's a long time ago, 2010, and things are getting beyond memory, I guess. This was what the WikiLeaks founder went into refuge for in the Ecuadorian embassy in London for so many years. He's actually currently in jail in London for breaking parole conditions, and the US still want to extradite him over his role in the release of classified military information and diplomatic material in WikiLeaks in about 2010. The Australian is now 48, so he's not exactly having a good middle life. Maybe that's what they say midlife crisis is all about. Anyway, Tell you what, you wouldn't be wanting to be in Sydney. It's very hazardous to your health there at the moment. The air quality is very, very grim. It's shrouded in smoke from the inland fires. So 5 million people there are not having a good time of it. Mr. Trump, well, here's something you don't actually get to read about. You only get to the bad news about Mr. Trump, but we happen to subscribe to a military army insider type website, and Mr. Trump has granted a full pardon to 2 soldiers who faced murder charges in war zone deaths, and he has reinstated the chief petty officer rank of a Navy SEAL who was convicted of posing with a dead detainee. He stated that, this is Mr. Trump stated, when our soldiers have to fight for their country, I want to give them the confidence to fight. So, good for him. There's 15 people in Minerva. Absolutely amazing to us that there are 15 folk in Minerva after all of the weather reports. But anyway, I'm sure you're going to be interested in the weather this morning. I'm just a bit worried about our streaming here. I'll just have a look and see what's going on while I'm talking. But hopefully there is something going out in streaming. It says it's on one computer, but not on the other. That's a bit of a problem. Well, I'm going to hand it to David and see if I can sort this out. If somebody is on streaming and you are getting it, if you could let me know, please.
We'll just do the weather.
And we'll just go on to weather, I think. First of all, is there anybody out there that wants to give a report? Please call.
No.
Nothing heard, but there is quite a lot of weather to cover, so we will indeed get on to that. I see it's got 2 people watching now, so that's good. I must have kicked it into action. All right, folks, we have a good morning to Jean up there in Oakport. It's a beautiful morning, clear skies, light breeze, so nothing much happening weather-wise there. That's good for the people coming in today. And Citrus Tart, good morning, you guys. Heading east to Naigani. Beautiful, calm morning, clear skies, and 12 knots southeast, 1007.6 in Fiji. Looks pretty grim in the top island, but not too bad, I suppose. It's sort of above you. Looks pretty lovely between New Caledonia and Australia for those that are heading that way. And I guess we're going to hear shortly about what's happening between the islands and New Zealand. All right, folks, good morning, and I think we're going to just go straight on to weather. We are excited, of course, to get out of here. I did have a look at some of the statistics that we had over the course of the cruising season. We are on streaming, so you get all these interesting numbers. And there were 9,742 views on streaming. That's quite a lot, isn't it? We have to divide that by the number. We're only doing 5 days a week now, so that's quite a lot. In fact, there were 197 different people checked in on streaming at one time or another. 197, which is quite amazing. In terms of emails into Gulf Harbour Radio, 194 different boats called in or emailed in. Some of you quite a few times, so 194. And we have 37 absolutely wonderful people who made a donation to our costs here. And I want to thank you very, very much for the donation. Without those 37 people, I don't think we would be continuing. The costs are quite high. So the fact that you have gone to the trouble of making a donation is certainly much appreciated. So there you have it. 194 boats with email requests, 197 on streaming, almost 10,000 views over the course of the season, and 37 wonderful people. All right, I know it's early, but I think we'll get straight on to the weather. I suspect he's got quite a bit looking at some of the things that he was talking about earlier on this morning. Here's David.
Well, good morning. And this being really the last day of the season, as Patricia said, I'm going to just hit the synoptic highlights. Not a lot has changed from yesterday, if you were listening. I hope you were. We have the high east of New Zealand. We have the high on the Tasman. And, of course, the complex low system that is sandwiched in between all of this. And multiple fronts over New Zealand. Now, those arriving Opua or Marsden before lunch, you are just making it before one of the weak cold fronts does arrive. The second one arrives, I'm guessing, about 1 a.m. Thursday morning. So late tonight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., right in there for the second one. Not a lot in them. Actually, what's happened is a very small depression has developed over East Cape, and that is the culprit that is spawning these two particular cold fronts. Now, for those that are further north, we have a quasi-stationary front, same one as yesterday, and that traverses the cruising route, kind of cuts it at a diagonal. I'll give you the coordinates for a portion of this front, and these numbers are valid for about lunchtime today. So put a little point at 32 south, 177 east, and another point at 25 south and 168 east. Draw a line between the two, and that is your quasi-stationary front approximate location. Now, those of you at 30 south, you could expect light to moderate southerlies, I'd say about 10 to 15 knots on your way here to New Zealand. Now, tomorrow, if you're at 32, 33, you could expect about 15 to 18 southerlies still, I'm afraid. Arrival on Friday, pretty light air. You just made it to get in here on Friday. As winds to the northeast become quite strong a little bit later. So Friday, early, if you make it, that's good. Now, those of you at Minerva, I'm surprised we haven't heard from any boats there, but that's okay. Be aware that a subtropical depression is forming near 27 and 172 west. Might even be around 171 west, right in that area. And it's going to move very quickly Saturday to approximately 29, 175 west. Now, the winds on the southwest edge of this depression are up to 50 knots. That's 50, 50. Now, trying to race this to New Zealand is not advisable. Although we don't give advice here at Gulf Harbor Radio, this is one time I'm going to say that's a bit of a gamble if you decide to do that. Headwinds, certainly, and probably gale force if you try to do it. A smart idea is to stay put until early next week when the storm system either eases or it moves. Now, for the moment, it appears to do a bit of a loop. It's going to go southwest a wee bit, then it's going to head north again. We'll see how this pans out. So monitor your weather reports before you depart. You can get your New Zealand Met charts easily. You have your grids. There are other ways to get weather. I'm sure you know what they are, but certainly do a good job on looking before you leap. Those trying for New Zealand from Newcastle, you're going to be looking at headwinds for much of the voyage if you're leaving about now. I think next week may be a better chance for you, but some people won't care and feel they can deal with the conditions. Now, late in the weekend, early next week, there is a definite threat of a tropical depression. Now, models continue to disagree on its exact location and track. EC maintains Vanuatu as the target. GFS initially had the system forming just to the northwest of Fiji, almost wanting it to be around over Fiji, but it's changing its mind and starting to agree a little bit more with EC. So in other words, forming northwest of Fiji then heading toward Vanuatu. So the operative location seems to be Vanuatu. This depression looks to dissipate, fortunately, by the end of next week. But in the meantime, it's going to be a bit of a worry until it actually does what we think it's going to do. Now, the next decent arrival date for New Zealand is going to be around the 6th of December. That could fit in with a departure from the islands sometime next week. But before you commit, watch what happens to the tropical depression very, very carefully. The last thing you want is for this to continue to develop and move south. In fact, that is the absolutely worst thing that could happen in any of the storm systems that we get here in the Southwest Pacific. That particular scenario, we do not want that to happen. Quickly looking at the islands, imagery shows broken to scattered cloud over Tonga, and that is from remnants of the nearby troughs. These clouds could provide showers and possibly quite heavy showers. Winds not bad. By lunch, easterlies about 10 to 15, and about the same tomorrow. But northeast by Friday, and from that I would expect some convective activity. Now, the tropical depression that we just talked about, it's already starting to form. It's not a depression per se yet, but it is providing cyclonic winds today as we speak. The location is roughly 13 and 173 east, 13, 173 east. Now, 3 troughs emanate from this area like they did yesterday, and the one that counts is the one that's heading over Rotuma. It's clipping northern Fiji and Tonga, and it goes on to Niue. So that's what's providing a lot of the cloud in those areas. So Fiji can expect cloudy periods with scattered showers over much of the group today, and probably the same thing tomorrow. Winds today east to east-southeast, fairly light. Kendavu in the southern Lao, east-southeast, I think, about 10 to 15. Now, a mix of winds tomorrow, east-northeast in the northern bits, colliding with east-southeast in the southern bits, and that is a good recipe for convective activity, called directional convergence. You know about that now. Vanuatu, early this morning on imagery, shows trough clouds in the north, but mostly fair to the south. Now, the loop does show cloud from the west bearing down on the group, so I wouldn't be surprised that as the day goes on, you'll get a little bit more cloud. So anyway, expect some showers in the north and partly cloudy conditions as you go south. Winds fairly light, east to southeast, 10 to 15, generating about 1.5 meters in the open water. More wind tomorrow, mostly southeast, but 15 to 20, favoring 20 knots, I think, in the southern areas. Now, over to Newcastle, they show scattered clouds, some coming in from the south as bands. You can see that quite readily on the loop. Expect southeast winds about 10 to 15 in the lagoon, and maybe some 20s later in the afternoon. Tomorrow, southeast 15 to 20. However, lots of wind on Friday. I'm thinking southeast getting up to about 25 knots. So hold on to your hat there. And finally, the outer reef, actual conditions here, southeast 11 to 15 knots reported. Ile de Pan, southeast 5 to 10. And Noumea reported southeast 10 to 17. With the barometric pressure 1012.5, 1012.5. So that's it for me this season. All the best to those underway and those of you still on the islands. And I guess we'll talk to you next season. And here's the chief.
Well, we'll see about that. All right. And thank you for those that have sent in good, kind messages. We hope that we will see a few people out there. And today, Lupan's going on the hard today from in Whangarei there. Good sunny day there. Good morning to you guys. I was just thinking of people actually who are making their way home across the waters wherever you're going. There are very cheap airfares from Air New Zealand have just been issued from Kerry to Auckland, $39. I'm presume that doesn't mean they will take your bags as well. You have to pay extra for the bags, but that is a very cheap Kerry to Auckland fee. I think they're trying to carry a bit of goodwill after all of the cancellations that they've made with international flights. But if you are wanting to get to Auckland for going back home to Europe or the States or wherever, Canada, Kerry to Auckland is very cheap at $39. Did I say degrees? $39. It's time I got out of here. All right, folks, that's about it for us for the season. Is there anybody with anything clarification? I hope you did pay attention to that weather if you are still out there. Anybody else? Oh, hello, Alan. Whereabouts are you? Hang on, I'll grab my pen. Go ahead. Got that? 1921 south, 16752 east. Carry on. Okay, and I might have doubled with you for your course and speed. Over. Okay, got all that, and I presume you heard the weather, and I'll let Denise know that. Is she back at your place? Over. Oh, okay. She's whipped home. I thought she was going to be out here for the summer. All right, got all that. So 1921 south and 16752 east, 40% cloud cover, 10 knots south-southeast, calm seas 1011, and you are 150 true at 5.5 knots. Okay, anything else, Alan?
No, only that Denise has gone out to work for
Roger that. Oh well, who knows? We might see you out on the water in the new year. That would be good. All right. We'll clear with you. I hope you have a good trip, and I hope you will be calling in to Maritime Radio. Will you be doing that in the evening? Over. Okay, well, it would be good, particularly in a day or two, to give a daily report, and then if we need to tell you anything, we know that you'll be checking in there, Alan. All right, folks, and that's a reminder to other people. Maritime Radio are there. Just give them a call on any of the emergency frequencies, 24/7, so it doesn't matter when you do it. It's whenever is convenient, and propagation is good in the early evening, and that will certainly keep you safe. People will know where you are if the need arises. Okay, folks, is there any, we're clear with Quintessa, is there anybody else? Oh, good morning, Graham. It's nowhere near as good this morning. Are you at the entrance there still? Over? Yeah, it is indeed. So, Oniroa. Okay. Well, good morning to you.
What's the wind there?
Yeah, David wants to know what the wind is like there. Over. Yeah, that he says good. That's what we've got here too. Okay, light northwest Oniroa. All right. Thank you for that. And good morning to Lynn. Yeah, there's a few folk coming. Amazing Grace is not got too far to go, so they'll be trotting down this direction. And I can correct, when we went down to the boat yesterday, there was nobody in the Fusio berth, so I'm assuming that they're getting reasonably close too. Okay, cheers to you. And I guess that's about it for us. Sort of sad in a way, but good for us. We've got 1,000 things we want to do now that the net is finished, and David doesn't have to spend so much time looking at weather models. And he's probably, well, in a day or two, with after I've given him the list of things that I need him to do, he'll probably wish he was still doing weather. But there's quite a lot of honey-dos. So have a good season, everybody, here in New Zealand or Australia, wherever you've gone, and we will talk to you next year. Cheers all. Oh, better turn streaming off.